Shalom, shalom. Okay, all right, guys, another quick session, a recap of quadratic equations. It sounds difficult, and it can be difficult, but not the level that we do, not in the beginning. So we've got a quadratic equation. Why is that called a quadratic equation? Because if I was foolish to foil it, I'm going to have an x squared, right? If it's x squared, then it's quadratic. But you don't want to foil it. What we want is just like before, we want to solve for x. So actually what we want, when we have a quadratic equation, we've learned it already, we actually want to factorize it. Now it's factorized. And now we can find the solution. We've done stuff like this year. I want this whole thing to be 0. So there's two answers for this. What is one answer? What can x be to make this whole thing 0? 3. Here we go. Okay? Either this bracket is 0 or that bracket's, because if one of them is 0, 0 times whatever is 0. So either x is equal 3 or x equal negative 6. You see how it is here? It is.
Is that the answer?
That's the answer.
Right.
Okay? Right? So I'm not saying quadratic equations are easy. They're not. But when it's already factorized, it's all ready for us, then it is easy. Okay?
That's some,
Okay. What, Hannah, give me one solution for x here. Negative 3. If x is equal minus 3, so minus 3 plus 3 is 0. Okay, 0 times minus 3 is 0. But there's one more solution, and this might not be as obvious as, yes, Leo. 0? Exactly. Okay, so here you think, oh, I don't have a bracket here. What does that mean? But what x can make this 0? If x is 0, is 0. Does that make sense? Okay, if x is 0, then obviously x is 0. And 0 times whatever it is going to be 0. So I also have two solutions here. Actually, I'm thinking about another question. What if I had x plus 2 square equals 0? What will be the solution?
negative 2.
X equals negative 2. Is there any other solution? No. Well, if I put 2 here, 2 plus 2 is 4. So, because why? Because this can be written as this. X plus 2 and x plus 2.
So you only give 2 answers, there's 2 x's.
So if it's identical, I just have one solution. It's like a repeated solution. Okay? Let's just pause here. Right, guys, one more, which is a bit trickier, but still not big stuff. Okay? We've got this equation. Okay? To answer your question, Luano, what we got to ask ourselves, for all this to be equal to 0, I have two options. The first option is 2x minus 5 is equal 0. One of the brackets must be 0. That's one option. The second option is, what's the second option? So I'm solving already two equations. That's what I'm doing here. Now it's a little bit nasty. Okay, so what do I do?
You plus 5 and then
so 2x equals 5 divided by 2x equals 5 over 2. That's one solution. Over on this side, 3x equals minus 1. X equals minus 3. Okay? So I've got two solutions here. So what I think that our conclusion is, okay, if you've got two brackets or anything, time equals 0, you need to solve, each one of them has to be 0. One of them has to be 0. Let's pause here.
Not both, eh?
No. Okay, it can't be both. Ollie's asking, can they both need to be 0? If they both need to be 0, then x must be equal to 5 over 2, and at the same time has to be equal. That can't be possible. But you don't need to, because you just need one bracket to be 0. That could be 10 million. 0 times 10 million is still 0. Okay, yeah. Let's start. Okay, so that was the easy part. Now we are going a little bit slowly to a bit harder. Sorry. Okay. Right, x squared equals 9. So one answer you guys think about is 3. You're right. Because obviously 3 squared equals 9. But there's another solution.
x equals negative 3.
X equals negative 3. You said that, right? Remember, this is a quadratic equation. And not always, but normally we'll have two solutions. But we're saying, hang on, x can also be equal minus 3. Because look at this. Minus 3, if we square it, it's also going to be plus 9. Because the minus dies. So how do I remember to put in that minus? How did you remember?
So no, because that's the difference of the square.
Well done. Okay. So what Buzwe did, okay, he said, oh, what I can do is, I'm going to move it to the other side. I'm going to say x squared minus 9 equals 0. And there you remember that's a difference of a square. How can we write that? As x plus
1 minus 1.
Plus 3.
x plus 3 times x minus 3. Remember difference of a square. That's why we used it. Okay? And now we turn it into the form we just had now. Remember, when we try to solve a quadratic equation, we want to factorize it. That's what we want to do. We want to factorize it. We want a bracket times a bracket. And now you know what the answers are. Okay? X equals plus 3 or x equal minus 3. Plus 3 will make this bracket 0. Minus 3 will make this bracket 0. We happy with that? I need to pause for questions? Easy. Okay. What should we do here? Let's also factorize it. How are we going to factorize it? First of all, let's put them all on the same side. That's the key, guys. That's the key. Put them all on the same side. X squared minus 9x equals 0, right?
Yeah.
How do we factorize that, baby? It's not a difference of a square. It's not a difference. But there is a common factor.
You can take out x.
Take out x. What should I write in the bracket?
X minus 9.
X minus 9. And the 0 minus 0. Again, we factorize it. If we factorize it, we got the answer. Isn't it?
Clever.
It's clever. What are the solutions now?
X equals 9.
X equals 9 or x equals
0.
0. If that's 0, we got a lift off as well. Okay? I'll just pause here. The next one is a bit trickier. Okay. Guys, last exercise for today. Last exercise for today. Okay? 4x squared equals 16. Now I'm going to show it to you in two ways. Okay? Again, you write is a difference of a square. Let's start with the way that I showed you so far. So 4x squared minus 16 equals 0. We can write that, if you remember that semi-stage, it's like 2x squared minus 4 squared equals 0. Remember, sometime I showed you to do it like that semi-step. And now we can write it as 2x plus 4 times 2x
And then 2x minus 1.
minus 4 equals 0. Fantastic. And then I got to solve each one of these factors. Okay? In fact, I probably should do it slightly different. Should probably do it differently. Can I show you? I'm not going to have time. Sorry, going up. One of the things that I told you to do is before you find the difference of a square is to see if you can factor a number out. What number can I factor out here? 4. That will be more wise to do. Then it will be x squared minus 4 equals 0. Now I can get rid of the 4. Yeah, I can get rid of the 4 because I can just divide by 4. 0 divided by 4. That's the nice thing with equation. With equation, I can get rid of things sometimes. If I divide by 4, that's going to die. And I have x squared minus 4 equals 0. So 0 divided by 4 is 0. Now let's factorize that. That's much easy. Much easy. X plus 2, x minus 2 equals 0. And like Ollie here said, you don't think about it too much. What are the two solutions?
X minus 2.
X minus 2 or x plus 2. Now, how can we write that? I'm going to show you something new. You can write like this. X equals plus minus 2. Don't get scared of
So,
that.
but you can still get the same answer from that.
You will get the same answer, absolutely. But before the bell goes, it is going to go very quickly. I'm going to show you how you can solve that actually quicker. Okay? 4x squared equals 16. What I personally will do is the same. It's this way. I will divide by 4. I'm not going to factorize. I'm going to write x squared equal what? 4. And now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to square root both sides. So I'm going to say x equal 2. But I got to remember, and that's the key punchline, it can be either plus or minus. Because like Buzwa said, okay, if I take minus 2 and square it, that's also going to be 4. So if you do it that way, you can, but you need to say plus or minus.
This one's much easier. Now I understand.
Have a lovely day, guys. Homework.